This is Jarrod Horak for the RunawayHorse.com. Welcome to my latest Breeders' Cup preview video. And in this video, I'm going to preview the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Now, over on my YouTube channel, if you want to see some of my earlier Breeders' Cup previews, last week I did a Breeders' Cup Friday and a couple Breeders' Cup Saturday previews. And then I also previewed some individual races of the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Distaff, and the Dirt Mile. Now, if you're interested in my annual two-day Breeders' Cup full cards from Keeneland this year, Friday, November 4th, Saturday, November 5th, you will find those full cards completed at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page later this week. But I do have a pre-sale going on right now. Now through midnight on October 31st, you can get $2 off Breeders' Cup Friday, $2 off Breeders' Cup Saturday, or $4 off both days. So you can head on over to the runawayhorse.com on my sales page to get those sale prices now through midnight on October 31st. After that, they will revert to their regular prices. And now let's get into the analysis of this video, and we're going to be doing the third race from Keeneland on Saturday, November 5th, 2022. The Grade 1 $1 million Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Fillies and Mares 3-year-olds and up. 7 furlongs on the main track. An early scheduled post time of 11:50 p.m. Eastern. I will look at the pre-entries in alphabetical order, beginning with Awake at Midnight for trainer Doug O'Neill. And I mentioned this one in my Distaff preview video. She won her sprint debut at Santa Anita at 6 furlongs. And at 7 furlong Santa Ynez Stakes, she was second by 3/4. And then another good effort in a sprint race at Del Mar this summer. She won an optional claiming race from post 10 against 3-year-old in Up Company, and she won that one by 3 3/4 lengths. She exits a runner-up finish in the Grade 2 Zenyatta Stakes at 1 mile and a 16th. So if she runs here, she would be turning back in distance in her third start after a layoff. The problem with her is she just doesn't seem fast enough on paper to compete with some of the top contenders. CC is your defending champion. She was my top choice in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint last year. She stalked the pace. She won by 2.5 lengths at 6-1 odds, defeating Edgeway and the favorite Gamine. So CC's got a lot of class. She's a 6-year-old mare. She's banked more than $2.3 million in her career. And she comes into this race sharp. She won the Grade 3 Chillingworth at Santa Anita Park on October 2nd in her final prep for this. And she won that race last year prior to the Filly and Mare Sprint as well. She won the Princess Rooney. That was at Gulfstream Park at 7 furlongs over the summer. And she won that race in 2021 as well. So she's one that is just running in the same races that she did last year. And she's in good form again. And she's got good technical speed. The only thing negative I can say is that her speed ratings prior to the Filly and Mare Sprint last year were faster than they were this year. So it doesn't seem like she's quite as fast as she was heading into the sprint last year. But she's in good form again. She's got a lot of class. And she's certainly capable of winning a race like this. She's 4 for 8 at 7 furlongs. The next one I will talk about is Chain of Love, and she would be coming in from Japan if they run her in this spot, but she's only 3 for 22 lifetime. One of those victories, 7 furlongs in the mud, in her last start in Japan on September 10th. In a 16-horse field, she won by a nose. But looking at her overall form, she just doesn't seem to have the class to win a race like this. Chi-Town Lady is the next one for Wesley Ward. She is 1 for 3 at Keeneland, and then she has also won at this distance before. And her victory at Keeneland was in her career debut, April of 2021. She wired the field at 4.5 furlongs. Her other very good performance was in the Grade 1 test last time out at 17-1. She rallied from 11 lengths back and going last to first to win that one by 1.5 lengths. But looking at her overall form, she has 3 wins from 7 starts. Her first win was on a good track at Keeneland. Her second win was in the Bolton Landing Stakes on yielding turf at Saratoga. And then her other win was on a good track at Saratoga in the test stakes last time. So she seems to like some giving the ground. And when she gets a fast track, she's just not the same. Echo Zulu is the next one. She was your 2-year-old filly champion, and she just blitzed through her 2-year-old campaign. She won her 5.5 furlong debut at Saratoga, July 2021, and then she rolled off Grade 1 wins in the Spinaway, the Frizette, and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. She won those races, those Grade 1 races by 4, 7, and 5 lengths. So she's one that dominated last year. And then fast forward to 2022. She made her belated 3-year-old debut in the Fairgrounds Oaks, and she controlled the pace as the lone speed on paper, but she just barely held on by a nose in that 6-horse field. That was definitely, she was not as sharp as she was or as fast as she was as a 2-year-old. And then in the Kentucky Oaks, she ran an okay race there. From post 7, she pressed the pace. She was right up near the lead, and then she ended up finishing 4th, beating 3 lengths. Secret Oath and Nest were 1st and 2nd. Desert Dawn was 3rd there, and she only missed 3rd by a half length. And then in the Dogwood Stakes at 7 furlongs, a grade 3 at Churchill Downs, she rebounded with a strong front-running win. But still, she was better last year. She was more brilliant. But the last race was a step in the right direction, and she is 2 for 2 at this distance, and she should be a pace factor. Edgeway. I mentioned Edgeway because she finished 2nd in this race last year at 16-1 odds at Del Mar. Now, I'm not sure that she's going to be able to run the same race away from Southern California, although she did win a little stakes race at Oakland Park in 2021 at 6 furlongs. She exits a victory in the grade 3 Rancho Bernardo. She's got some speed to get up on or near the lead, and she's had 12 starts on a fast track with 8 wins in 2 seconds. But I still think she's a cut below the top contenders. Fingal's Cave is a decent New York bred for trainer David Donk. Against New York bred company in her first 2 starts, she won by 8 and 9 lengths. And then in an entry-level allowance race against Open Company at Saratoga at 1 1/8, she won that one easily. And then she won a state-bred stakes race in the mud at 1 1/8 at Saratoga. They faced Open Company in the grade 2 Raven Run at 7 furlongs at Keeneland last time out. Wicked Halo won that one easily, and she rallied to finish 2nd. She's one that will probably try to come from a bit off the pace in here, but this 3-year-old filly is going to have to run faster to compete for the win. Frank's Rockette is the next one, and for trainer Bill Mott, and he really has placed her in some very good spots throughout her career. He's been able to find some nice, softer stake spots, and she just steps up and delivers just about every time. She's 9 for 23, and she's earned over $1 million in her career, but she is 0 for 2 at Keeneland. She's run 3 times at 7 furlongs with a win, a 2nd, and a 3rd. She romped last time out in a little stakes race at Charlestown, and that was her first win in quite some time. She was hitting the board in a bunch of stakes races. You have to go back to Pimlico of July of 2021 to find her win prior to that last win. But overall, she's got good form. She's got some tactical speed. I just don't think she's this good. Goodnight Olive is next for trainer Chad Brown. This one's a daughter of Ghost Zapper, and she's 1 for 1 at Keeneland. She broke her maiden at Keeneland by more than 8 lengths, stalking the pace the fall of 2021. She's 3 for 3 at 7 furlongs, so she won that maiden race at 6 furlongs, and then she won an entry-level allowance race at 7 furlongs at Aqueduct the fall of November of 2021. She won that by 9 lengths, and then she made her first start this year at 7 furlongs. Non-winners 2 other than at Belmont, and she won that one by 5 lengths, wiring the field. Non-winners 3 other than at Saratoga. She stepped up, she stalked, she won that one easily. Then after going through those conditions, they put her in the grade 1 Ballerina. She stalked, she won that one easily, and she earned an improved speed rating. So we know she likes the track. She's 5 for 6 with a 2nd in her career. She's won her last 5 starts, and she's won that with that tactical speed and improving form, and she's fresh, and she looks like a solid contender. Hot Peppers is next, and she will be a pace factor in here if she goes. She has 9 starts with 5 wins in 2 seconds, but she is 0 for 2 at 7 furlongs. So she seems best at 6 furlongs, maybe 6.5 if she can get out there and control the pace. She actually won twice at 5.5 furlongs. This is a Florida bred, and she's got a lot of speed, but I just don't think she's going to be able to keep up with some of the other speed horses in here. Kimari for Wesley Ward is next, and she likes Keeneland. 3 starts with 2 wins and a 3rd place finish, and she's run at this distance 3 times with a win and a 3rd. She exits back-to-back wins in the grade 2 Honorable Mist at 6 furlongs and the grade 2 Gallant Bloom at 6.5 furlongs. And she earned nice speed ratings in those races, and she has good tactical speed. So she's one that looks like you can consider her for sure based on her recent form and her 2 wins at Keeneland. Lady Rockette is next for trainer Brad Cox. And this one's 1 for 2 at Keeneland. She's 7 for 16 overall, 4 for 7 at 7 furlongs. She exits a runner-up finish behind Kimari in the Gallant Bloom, and she was more than 9 lengths clear of the show. So that was a good effort. The Ballerina, she wasn't a big threat there. She couldn't get to the lead, and she ended up weakening. So she's one that likes to get out there and set the pace. But a few others in here that I've already mentioned like to get out there and set the pace as well, and she's going to have to run better at this distance. Letruska is the next one, but they're not going to pre-enter her. So this is a late breaking story that Letruska won't be pre-entered in the filly and mare sprint. They don't like the way that she's going. And then based on her recent form, that's probably a good idea because she was 5th by 35 lengths in the Phipps. She was 3rd in the Personal Ensign and then 4th by 16 in the Spinster. So she doesn't seem to be in good form, and that's why they're not going to pre-enter her in this race. Obligatory for trainer Bill Mott is an interesting contender. She was 3rd in the Ballerina, rallying from last place, and that was a solid effort. She was well clear of the rest that day. The Bed of Roses before that, a 4-horse field, didn't get enough pace help. She tried anyway, and she missed by a half. The Grade 1 Derby Distaff at Churchill Downs, she won that one as my top choice on the Kentucky Derby undercard at 7-2. That was a nice effort, rallying from 11 lengths back. The Hurricane Birdie at Gulfstream Park earlier this year, she won that one, and then the Chaluki late last year. So she's one that she produces a nice late kick. She's been in steady, good form since last fall, and if the pace heats up, she can certainly be there at the end. Slammed is very sharp for trainer Todd Fincher. She's 9 for 12 lifetime, and she was just beating up on New Mexico Bred Stakes Company, and then they shipped her to Del Mar this summer. Optional claiming race. She dominated that race going wire to wire. The Rancho Bernardo, she battled with Edgeway all the way around the track, and Edgeway just edged out the half-length victory, and Slammed was well clear of the rest. And then the TCA Stakes, a Grade 2 at Keeneland last time out, she got to the front, she dominated that one. So we've mentioned how many speed horses there seem to be in this race. And if a lot of these pre-entrants enter the race, we're going to have a pretty lively pace, and Slammed will certainly be one of those pace factors. Sterling Silver for trainer Tom Albertrani. She's 3 for 9 lifetime with a 2nd and 2/3. She's 0 for 1 at Keeneland, and she's 1 for 2 at 7 furlongs. The Gallant Bloom, she was 3rd, beaten 10 lengths, and then in the Prioress Stakes against Wicked Halo, she rallied to finish 2nd by a neck before that. She'll try to get involved late, and she's going to be hoping for some pace help. Wicked Halo will be the last one of the pre-entries in alphabetical order, and she's 1 for 1 at Keeneland, and that win was the Grade 2 Raven Run last time out. She stalked outside. She won by 4. That was her 4th consecutive victory. She's 2 for 3 at 7 furlongs. She's 6 for 10 overall with 3 show finishes. So she's very consistent. The only time she finished out of the top 3 was a stakes race at Oaklawn Park in February. So she's won those 4 in a row, showing that good tactical speed. And she's going to want to hope for some pace help and then maybe an outer post where she can sit out there in the clear and stalk the pace. So overall, this looks like it could be a pretty wide open race. We'll see which horses end up in the final field. But some of the contenders I think you want to zero in on, or at least that I'm looking at, is possible top contenders in here. I'll know more after post positions. But Obligatory for Bill Mott, I like her. I think she's got a decent shot from off the pace, that the way this race could shake out. Kimari's in good form. I think for Wesley Ward, you can certainly consider her. A Goodnight Olive, 5 wins in a row, improving speed ratings, and she's fresh for Chad Brown. And then one other one is Cece, your defending champion. I'm just not quite sure she's quite as good. Obviously, Echo Zulu would take a lot of action, but if the speed plays out like it looks like it could, Echo Zulu could be a pace casualty. But we'll see how all that ends up playing out after they draw of the fields. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this content. And that will wrap up this video. I'll be back with my next preview. I'm going to take a look at the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Until then, good luck at the races.